a glare, is it?
It's okay, Mataji, now I guess. Mataji, we're done with the prayers. Recap is done.
Yes, I know. I just joined. There was again, like yesterday night also, I had some problem with logging in through laptop. But today morning it took little time, but I was able to log in through laptop, thankfully. It becomes easy because in the phone it is very difficult to see the comments and easily, like, anyway. Welcome you all. Very good morning, Hare Krishna. Nice to see you all. So, yeah, our apologies. Radhakrishna Prabhu will not be able to join this session today. He was not well. He's still not well. So, maybe tomorrow he will join you all for the sessions. So, like Sneha was mentioning, so far in the first session, we saw introduction to, what is Bhagavad Gita, why is it important, and all that. Why is it important to know the Bhagavad Gita, read the Bhagavad Gita? In the second session, from the second session onwards, we are seeing the 5 main topics which Bhagavad Gita deals with. So, in that, the first topic we saw was karma. Uh, it's not that one is more important than the other, everything is equally important, but since it's a very elaborate, important topic, we had that karma thing first. And then yesterday we saw this topic of us, the jivas, soul. Who are we? And why are we in this? Who are we and what is our nature? And what is our composition? All that, different interesting information also we saw about the soul. Even in the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that, even the sages are very much not interested. What is that word? They are impressed by hearing the different uh, information about the soul. Bhagavad Gita also mentions that. Great sadhus are also impressed. Wow, the soul is such a intricate, a very esoteric thing, and it has so many uh, interesting information, so many interesting features and characters like that. So these are very interesting topics to know about. And then what is more interesting is when we see how to implement, follow this knowledge in our life. So we saw the jiva. Today we will be seeing about, since we saw jiva and then we saw like how human life is one of the 84 lakh species that one can take. Human body is one of it. And we also saw that how human body is like, we also saw that human body is very special. The Gita mentions that human birth is very, very rare. Now, in presentation, today's presentation is a little lengthy. We will be skipping few slides which are very technical. We don't need to know such technical details. So 1 or 2 slides we will be skipping, but otherwise we'll be going through a bit quickly, and then we'll also try to squeeze in some time for question answer session. It's very important that we interact with question answers. Yes, we begin the session now. These people were talking about Mangalacharan. I hope you know what is Mangalacharan, like how we beginning prayers. It's just the prayers before beginning any activity. That's called Mangalacharan. So we already paid obeisances to Krishna, to all the devotees, to Srila Prabhupada and everyone. So with their blessings, we will start the session today. Move on to the next third slide, please. Yeah. So what do we see today? We see what are the, we are saying that human body is special, human birth is special, but there are commonalities also, right, between the human body and the animal body. So we will see first what are the 4 commonalities between animals and human beings. And then we will see, is there any difference? If so, what is the difference? And then the next topic we will be seeing today is, if there is a difference, are we leading a normal life today? I mean, meaningful life today, sorry. Are we leading a meaningful life today at all? Then, if not, then what is the problem? And how to understand the science of intelligence that the human body has? And then we will also be seeing about what is called as threefold miseries. This is not true only for human body. This is true for all the species. But we'll see what is the difference. Like when it comes to threefold miseries, what is the difference between animals and human beings? And then what is there a solution? Is there a solution for these threefold miseries? So this is what we will be seeing in today's presentation. Move on to the next slide. Okay. Here is a picture. I would like you all to say, there's this, let's say this is BMW. I don't know if the picture is BMW, okay? So let us say it's a BMW or an Audi or a whatever recent car you imagine. And then went through an accident and there's a person trapped inside. Who or what would you save here? The car or the human being? Who wants to say the answers? Will you save the car or the human being? Yes. Everybody will save the human being first, right? But imagine if you go by technicalities, car is worth few crores. Then, but if you go by what is inside a human body, you know, the bones, the blood, the this, the that, everything put together, believe me, it will cost around 206 rupees, it seems. Okay. In those days, it was, now it will be little expensive. Let us give it a few, this way, that way, 300 rupees, let us keep. So human body is totally worth of 300 rupees with all its macronutrients, micronutrients, and sugar levels present in that, the water level present in that. No, this is not a joke, you know. It's a serious thought. If we give it a serious thought, we will understand what is the difference between an animate and an inanimate, a non-living thing and a living entity. It's very important that we understand that the soul plays the most important role in any situation. There was this famous incident, one incident happened actually. There was a very famous industrialist, a businessman, who was living abroad for many, many years, it seems. And he wanted to come back to see his family, come back to India to see his family. And when he was about to travel, so, I mean, of course, he booked his tickets in business class, obviously, because he was a very big business shot and all that, business magnate and all that. So he booked his tickets through business class. Business class. And then just before he was about to travel, he passed away. Okay. So he passed away. And then the family members wanted to bring his body desperately. And then the airlines booked his body through cargo. It was the same person, right? The body is still there. It is the same person. While alive, he was about to travel through business class. But after death, his body was booked through cargo. Why not make him sit in the business class and come? No, because as long as the soul is sitting inside the body, no, only then the body has value. Once the soul passes away, there is no value for this body. It deteriorates. They say that this body came from the 5 elements of material nature. What are the 5 elements? Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. This body was made from these 5 elements. Once the soul enters, it has meaning. Once the soul leaves, there's no meaning to the body. It again withers, gets disintegrated. Again it gets disintegrated and then mixed with these 5 elements only. Here also, the car is there, which is worth, millions. But we will save the person because car is not having a soul. Whereas the person has a soul. He is the most valuable. Because the presence of the soul is what it makes anything most valuable. So this is something like, from yesterday's presentation, just to add on to the understanding that how soul is the most important component in any situation. All the other things we will leave, but we want to preserve our life. We want to save someone's life. Why? Because the soul is the most important entity. Okay, we move on to the next slide. Yeah, like I said, see here, all these are the elements present in the human body. If the body is everything, then we should be saving the car, not the body. If the presence of soul is not there, then we should be saving not the body, but the car. Isn't it? I mean, what I mean to say is if somebody does not accept, I don't believe in all this Jivatma, soul, and other things. Body is everything, energy is everything. Then we should not be saving the human being. We should be saving the car. Why we are saving the human being? Because of the presence of the soul. If you understand this concept, you can even explain to some people who are coming to you and asking such questions, saying, what is the whole this one? What is this whole theory of karma and soul and God and all that? I don't believe in any of these things like that. Then you can ask them this question. Will you save the person or you will save the car? If you go by the component, human body is worth only 200, 300 rupees. You can ask them this question. We move on to the next slide. So what happened now? We just skipped one slide over. Yeah, okay. We just saw this, that what are our body parts worth like that. You are definitely, isn't it? We are definitely more worthy when we are living. We are definitely more worthy than any machine or any car or anything. Yeah, so we move on to the next. These are some very technical details, so we will not go into it. Move on to the next slide. Yeah. Now, in this, like when we say that the soul is the most important component, amongst that, when the soul is inhabiting a human body, that is the most valuable time for the soul. For example, no. Now, when you have one small Nokia phone, and when you have some, the latest model of Samsung or iPhone, obviously, this latest model has more features, more efficiency, more everything. So if we ask you to choose, we will only choose the model which has more features, which has more usage, isn't it? So imagine the same situation. Human body is also such a vessel. If you compare all the 84 lakh vessels, human body vessel has the maximum value. That is why human life is the most valuable. Now we will see what is that. What is the difference? Why the human vessel is the most valuable? What is the difference actually? We will see. Before seeing the differences, if we just look into the commonalities between animals and human beings, these are the 4 activities which are common for any living entity: eating, sleeping, defending, mating. Isn't it? Every living entity has to eat to survive. It has to sleep to survive. It has to defend itself. And then it has to reproduce to create progeny, offsprings. Otherwise, how will the clan expand? Isn't it? So these are the 4 activities which are common for every living entity, starting from a bacteria to the biggest mammal or animal or human being which is living on Earth, or not just Earth, well, even in the heavenly planets. Even the heavenly planets, eating, sleeping, defending. Well, in the more heavenly planets like Brahmaloka and other things, maybe mating is not present because they are completely into the science of self-realization, so they maintain themselves celibate. But then the concept is the same. So eating, sleeping, defending, and mating.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, why I was muted? Sorry. Till where I was audible?
Mataji, almost we heard you everything.
Okay, fine. Okay. So these are the four common things between human vessel and any animal you take. These four things are common between us and them. Okay. So if these are common and these four are common between both of us, then why we should call ourselves special? We move on to the next slide. Yeah. So then we are seeing, except for the physical and the physiological differences, what other difference do we have between an animal and a man? Except for that, animals, most of them walk on four legs and then they eat raw, they don't cook. There are all these kind of cultural differences. But there are some human beings also who eat raw, who don't cook. Huh? So, what is the difference between any animal and a man in at any given point? We move on to the next. Who wants to say what is the difference between an animal and a human being? Who wants to say? Guess. See in this slide. Well, how scientific these senses? Because see here, no. Animals, when it comes to senses, the power of seeing or smelling or touch or reproduction or this or that, animal kingdom is much better than us. This eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, they are much better than us. Even the most pious of animals, like cow or a dog or a cat, we cannot stand in front of them if we come to a fight between us and them. They will always win. Animals will always win. So they are very good at defending. They have all the physical features which are very good at defending. Well, we can't say they cannot speak because they also have their language. They also have they make sounds. We are speaking in a different way. They are speaking in a different way, isn't it? They give calls. When they are in distress, they send signals through different kinds of sounds that they make. When they are in pain, when they are in pleasure, they make different kinds of sounds. That is communication. That is speaking to each other. We don't understand their language, but they do speak to each other. So then what is the difference? Some of the animals can hear or smell from much, much more distance than we can ever do. And some of them can eat much better than us. So some of them can even have some kind of intelligence. Dogs, elephants, for example, they learn, isn't it? What does that mean, Manasa? Vichakshana jnanam. Thank you, Manasa. This is the major difference between a human being and an animal. To differentiate between good and bad, and the other one is to question why. Why? A dog didn't get food today, it will only be very, very focused on satisfying its hunger, but it will never turn and think, why I didn't get food today? By habit, it may be doing certain things, learning how to protect itself, learning how to this, that, but it will never think, why am I suffering? Why am I not getting food today? Why did the other dog come and bark at me and behave like this? What can I do to, to appease this situation? Will any animal think in that manner? The why question. We move on to the next slide. No, we don't want this. This is not a very. So that is the difference between animals and human beings. The question why this is, why that is, what should be done, that is it. That's why you see today we see that in terms of this eating, mating, sleeping and defending, these 4 activities, in terms of these 4 activities, we have made our life so comfortable. Imagine few years back, the facilities that we have to eat better, to mate better, to defend better, to sleep better was not there. Today we have any area you enter into, there will be ranges of products. For example, the bed we sleep in, there will be the cheapest of bed to the, you cannot even imagine. Like sometimes we have slippers worth few lakhs, because it says it will cure this problem, it will cure that problem, you can stand, you will not feel heel pain, that pain, this pain, you can what not. We have bed which is worth few lakhs, from thousands to lakhs. We have restaurants which serve food even for 20 rupees and which serve food for 2 lakh rupees. So we have ranges in terms of eating, sleeping, mating, defending. We have all ranges. We can choose. If I am in this income bracket, I can choose which restaurant I can walk into and have the coziest of most welcoming situation with a nice dim that lightings and this one and that one and people coming to serve and all kinds of elegant and very delicious, tastefully decorated products will be served. One time I went to some restaurant because we don't usually eat in restaurants because we cannot eat onion, garlic. So we had to go to a restaurant and they served curd rice only. At home, we can eat only curd rice because there's no other thing which was available without onion, garlic. So they served curd rice, but they served it in such a decorative manner and they charged 400 rupees for that bowl of curd rice. So we can go on sophisticating the way in which we eat, sleep, defend, and mate. We can go on sophisticating, we can go on increasing the comfort levels, we can go on innovatively increasing different things. Imagine the houses we live in today and look at the way that we travel, the way we travel. There are trains to flights, and in flights there are economy and business, and even in that people have their own chartered flights to go. And inside the flight you can have a whole lifestyle, you whole living you can do. So like that and all, people they have created so many facilities like that. But the end question that we have is, are we happy with all the things that we have created around us? And believe me, the fact that we have used our intelligence to create all these things is in itself a very good example of how different we are from animals. We have that ability. Oh, why is this uncomfortable? Why is this chair very uncomfortable? Okay, let me go on to Google and see how I can find the different products which can make me sit very comfortably. Isn't it? So the very fact that we can think of the why itself shows the difference between us and animals. But all the whys that we have so far asked and so far created the facilities and the other things to enjoy, eat, sleep, mate, and defend. Are we happy with it? Are we satisfied with it? Is there any time we come back and say, okay, this is enough for me, I don't want more than this? Or have we at any time told, whatever I get, that is enough for me. No, it does not happen. With all this also, we are not happy. Even if we get all the facilities in this world, still we are in a situation where we have a lot to complain about. We have reasons, so many reasons to complain about. Either we complain about how people treat us, or we complain about how people are exploiting us, and for the money that my boss is giving, how he or she is exploiting me, or how in a relationship I'm being, I'm being neglected, or I'm being cheated, or with this is unfair, that is not good. Even in the most comfortable situations, we will have something to complain about. We are not happy about anything. We still are, for example, in fact, 2 generations before, or 2, 3, 4 decades before, we heard this word depression very less. People were not depressed. They were not sitting saying, I am in depression, and they were not popping pills and saying, what will I do? It's not that they didn't have problems, but they were so capable of handling many, many problems. As the days are going, and we are giving so much thought about how I can make myself comfortable in this world, we are becoming weaker and weaker and weaker and weaker. Physically weaker, mentally weaker. And because of which we are not able to handle even the smallest of problems. Even the smallest of problems look like a mountain for. You think in those days people didn't have someone ill-treating them? We can rewind and think about our own mothers and our own grandmothers. What kind of problems they went through with the family. Probably they were all living with a joint family, with many people together. You think there were no problems? There were no misunderstandings? There was not, no, but they were very mentally strong. There's a very big reason for why they were strong. But the question is, with all these developments, are we even happy? No, we are not. We are still cribbing, saying this is not there, that is not there. I'm not happy. Why this is happening to me? I'm into deep depression, and we are popping more pills than 1 or 2 generations before. We move on to the next slide. Yeah. What kind of life is that when we are, okay, there's a poll. Are we leading a meaningful life at all? What are we doing? Okay. We are also eating, sleeping, mating, and defending in much, much better ways, sophisticated ways. But are we satisfied at all? No amount of anything seems to be satisfying us. So, we are full of anxiety because whatever we get, we should not lose. So we are full of anxiety, stressed, and depressed, and all the time something to complain and unhappy about. All the time. The conclusion is, no, even this conclusion is not so very interesting, because we are living a sophisticated animal life, but we are living more miserable life than even animals. Animals don't have depression. We have depression. Of course, animals have anxieties, and there are low moments for animals also. But at least animals are going along with the flow of the nature, so the damage is very minimal. But for us, we want to evade everything natural and create unnatural situations, and then we sit and worry more. We have created a more sophisticated animal life in which we are suffering more. This is what we have done. In what way this is meaningful? In what way? If this is the direction in which we are marching, and we are marching so fast, what are we even doing? Move on to the next slide. So, we see today that we are sitting here and discussing, saying, what are we even doing? This is the greatest power that a human being has, the reasoning power. Why am I suffering? Why should I go through all these things in my life? Why should I grow old? Can I not live young forever? If an animal will not think, what should I apply so my skin will glow and I will look very beautiful in front of my, It will not. One lion will not think of creating more products for skincare. A dog will not think, how I can forever remain young. I don't want to grow old. They just flow with the nature. They don't think because they do not have the reasoning power. But we human beings are gifted with that reasoning power. Of why? That is why the whole Vedic text begins by Athato Brahma Jignasa. Now, please inquire about spirituality. Brahman, who am I? The Vedic text says, so now, Athato Brahma Jignasa, please inquire about Brahman, yourself, spirituality, who you are. That reasoning power is gifted for our human body. In the human body alone, it is available. But unfortunately, we are suffering more than animals because animals at least are flowing with the flow of nature. We try to use this reasoning power to only better our eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. But we are not using it to see how I can break the cycle of old age, birth, death, old age, and disease. All inevitable, right? Anything that can be stopped? No, you can't. If even you are maneuvering everything else, that cannot be stopped. Move on to the next slide. No, we skip this. These are all technical things we don't want. So birth, death, old age, and disease is something there, and it is only a human being who will ask this question. Why am I again and again being born and dying? Why am I taking birth and dying? Why am I growing old? Why am I actually having all kinds of diseases? See, the problem is because we are having that reasoning power, today we have developed so many scientific discoveries and other things, but we are missing out on a very basic thing. Instead of thinking how I can break the cycle, we are comfortably sitting in the cycle and thinking that I can maneuver like this, like that, like this, like that, and I can live peacefully. That is, somehow we have to understand that. See, there are so many difficulties that we face in this world. All the difficulties are categorized into these three: Adhyatmika, Adibhautika, and Adidaivika. Anything it will come under one of the three only. Adhyatmika means the problems that we ourselves create for us. Our mind creates so much problems for us. This is Adhyatmika, due to one's own self. Our body is giving problems. Our mind is giving problems to us. This is Adhyatmika. Probably Adhyatmika is the biggest problem that we face today. Adi Bhautika is through other living entities and other either human beings or animals. Mosquito bites and we fall sick. Then people create problems. All these things can be handled. But this Adhyatmika is so difficult to handle. Then comes the Adi Daivika. This we cannot do much about it. We are trying in that direction. We are successful also to a large degree. But we have to understand that nature will have its way if it has to. So these natural calamities like volcanic eruptions or tsunamis or this or that, like that, these are called as Adi Daivika. So Adhyatmika, the distress which is created by one's own self. Adi Bhautika, the problems created by other living entities. And Adi Daivika, the problems created by natural calamities. So these three types of kleshas are there. Which animal will be able to understand? Oh, I'm going through this suffering. Is this Adhyatmika, Adidavika, Adibhautika? Oh, this is Adibhautika. So this is our. Which animal will be able to think of all those things? No animal will understand this. This kind of understanding capacity is given only in human birth. Only in human birth. So that is why human birth is considered very valuable because we are running out of time. Okay. We have this human birth. If we have spent larger portion of our human birth only thinking about eating, mating, sleeping, and defending, then where is the time to think about why I should suffer at all? Why I should grow old at all? Where is the time to think about it? So if we don't think about it, we have wasted this whole life, and when we die, we might probably get another animal birth. Because we never thought about this, then the nature will decide saying, you were given an opportunity, you missed the train, so now you are going back in the ladder of evolution. And so our consciousness will be reduced, our intelligence will be reduced, and we live in an animal body. So that's called devolution, like going down in the evolutionary ladder. Instead of going up, progressing, we are regressing. So then again, we have to climb the ladder and come. By the time we get human birth, we don't know how many other births we will go through, how many times we will go through birth, death, old age, and disease. Because in every living entity, these four are there, no? Not just in humans. Even in animals, there is birth, death, old age, and disease. It's painful. Birth, death, old age, and disease are painful. So, when given a human body, we have to think, why all these things are happening to me? What should I do? Because that capacity is given to us. Now, if you give one latest model laptop to your grandmother who does not know anything about laptop, what she will use it for? Or say you gifted a phone, latest model phone to a grandmother, what she will use it for? She will know only how to make calls, probably. If that also she is capable of learning how to, work with androids. Otherwise, she will use it probably like a, what to say, paperweight. Imagine she uses it as a paperweight. Very nice, very heavy. So the papers will not fly away or like that. And she uses it for paperweight. What a wastage of what kind of features that phone is having and how much wastage it is. You will say, okay, I'll give you one stone. Use it as paperweight. Don't use my phone. I will take it back. Isn't it? Same way nature also. It has given us human body. We are using it for like this. Nature will say, fine, I gave you something very worthy. You don't know how to use, you don't know how to recognize the value of it. So let me take it back and give you only a stone. Fine. You use the stone for paperweight. Don't waste a phone. I will give it to somebody else, isn't it? So same way, don't waste, you wasted the human body. So you take the body of an animal where you will only be. And according to our desires and all that, we will be taking that kind of animal body because we have strong desire for them. That will be given. Move on to the next slide. See, every problem will have a solution. But we have to find what this slide they're trying to tell is that look for a permanent solution. Temporary solutions are always, this is our problem. Our problem is not we don't use our reasoning power, but we don't use it in the proper way. For example, if I am developing severe stomachache and diarrhea and all that, without even thinking why I am having this stomachache, why I am having diarrhea, or why I am having headache, I keep popping Dolo or Crocin or something like that. It's just treating the symptoms. What is causing that is going to remain in the body and it is only going to worsen. This is what we are doing today. Instead of going to the doctor and finding the root cause and solving that, oh, you are having diarrhea because of such and such a such infection. So you need to take these tablets, antibiotics, whatever the doctor gives. There is headache. Oh, why instead of popping anacins and crocins, we go and find out what is the root cause of headache. Oh, your poor digestion is the root cause of headache. So you fix the digestion. So this is how a solution has to be looked upon for a problem. Not just pop some temporary pin. This is what we are trying to do today. I'm becoming old. Let me apply some cream. That is what is the whole industry is exploiting us on. This tendency to look for temporary solutions is what we are being exploited upon. Today I'm having wrinkles, anti-wrinkle cream, anti this, anti that, whatever. How much ever anti-wrinkles we are applying, wrinkles are going to come. We can cover it for some time. Wrinkles are going to come because the nature of the body is to dwindle. What about dealing with the root cause of the problem? That's why we're not happy. With whatever solutions we are trying to find, we are not happy. My hair is falling. Okay, let me see what shampoo I have to use today so that hair fall stops. And then that companies also, they will give you the worst of products with so much of chemicals that as soon as you apply temporarily, hair fall will stop. The moment you stop using that, the hair fall will increase more than previously. We have seen all these things. It's not that you people will know much better than me because you are trendy and you will be in touch with the latest of products. And today, the cosmetic industry is surviving and thriving on this weakness of ours, this temporary solutions that we are looking for. Oh, I'm growing old, inject Botox. Do this, do that. Some cosmetic surgery, nose surgery, lip surgery, augmentation surgery, that one, fat reduction surgery. I'm becoming fat, do fat reduction surgery. That is not the solution. If you are becoming fat, you should actually exercise and you should watch your diet. Or you should see what is the cause of becoming fat. Sometimes some hormonal imbalances, sometimes. So what I'm saying is here, there is a root cause for a problem and there are temporary solutions, and we take the easy route and say, oh, this is temporary solution, let me just do something and nicely cover it up and imagine that everything has been solved. No, it doesn't happen. That is the reason why we are frustrated always in spite of so many developments, because all these developments are towards temporary solutions. Move on to the next slide. See this one. Old age means anti-wrinkle cream, anti-aging cream. This is like one so much famous. This is like every product will claim Oxidine. What is that? Oxides, something like that. Vitamin E's and oxides, and all lie. Then tsunami means, example, tsunami. But we have created so many detectors like earthquake detectors, tsunami detectors, this, that. Diseases, we have many techniques for curing. We have been quite successful in this, but again, let's not talk about that. This whole hospital thing is one different thing. But yeah, it hasn't given a solution. Not that people have stopped falling sick. Depression means antidepressant pills. Death, we are still trying to find a solution. We have not yet found a solution, how to stop it. And not that we have found solution for all these things, but we at least temporarily, we are trying to cover up with something. So, like in these illustrations, it is said, what are we actually trying to do every day? Get up, survive, go back to bed, get up, survive, go back to bed. And one day, this personality will knock on our door and we will think, oh, is it Halloween? Are you in a Halloween costume? He will say, sorry, sir. Actually, neither of us are. You are coming with me. What is that personality? death. It will knock on our doors unannounced. It will just take and go. We have nothing else to do. So where are we? We have to think about all these things. Krishna is not saying don't live happily. Please don't misunderstand by all these things. Oh my God, there is so much of depressing thing that is being discussed. Why can I not be happy? No, Krishna is saying be happy. But the thing is, don't just do all these things and think this is it. I'm today, if I get a job to my satisfaction, that's it. No, that's not it. That's not it. The job that you are thinking will give so much satisfaction. When you were in college, you think, oh, if I get into this company, that is the goal of my life. It is going to give me all satisfaction. The moment you get into it, you start realizing that you made the biggest mistake in your life, thinking that this is what is going to give you happiness. What Krishna is trying to tell is, don't fool yourself like this. There are situations in this world which will give you happiness, no denials, enjoy, but do understand that these are not permanent and these are not what you imagine to be. They will no situation like that will give you that absolute kind of happiness. Krishna is saying, you want absolute happiness? There is something else you have to do. It is not impossible to get it, but there is something else that you have to do apart from just this: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. We move on to the next slide. Yeah. So that is this. Why is ISKCON trying to take this philosophy, go to people and try to see? Before conducting this session, there were sleepless nights, day and night spent by our volunteers trying to see how to create some creatives attractively so people will come, how to make people come and register for our programs, how to make, what to give them, how to make them understand. What do you think Sneha is going to gain if 20 people, 30 people of you are attending this program and learning this knowledge? Just thinking of what kind of a benefit that Sneha is going to get. Is she getting money? She's not doing this for money. She's not doing it like direct. It's not even directly benefiting her. She already knows this knowledge. What is it that is? This is called real selfless service. She is doing this selfless service so other people can get this knowledge. Because this knowledge is very important. That is what is real selfless service. This is very important knowledge. This knowledge has to be understood. How we can live peacefully, but we should know how to break the cycle of birth and death. If we are not thinking about it, we're going to be in the same problem only. We can imagine 100 things. That situation will give me a solution. If I get this, it will give a solution. No. Every situation will have all these Adhyatmika, Adidavika and Adibhautika. Every situation will have this. This material world is designed like this. That's why we should start thinking from spiritual. Why is ISKCON all the time loudly speaking about, please think about spirituality, please get into spirituality? There are so many people who criticize, saying, oh, they just want to promote their religion. They just want, chumma, these religious people are, not just ISKCON, any religious person, people criticize, saying they don't have any job. That is why they are into all these kind of funny things and they want us also to be into all these funny things. No, it's not. The reality is that we should understand this. If we don't understand this and we are looking for happiness, how we will get? We are going into water and looking for fire. We are going into something else and looking for something else. That is the reason why Bhagavad Gita knowledge has to be given to everybody. The knowledge is there. It's like a treasure. It is there. How will it be if it is not unveiled and given to everybody? What is the use of having a treasure if it is not given to everybody? So very important that having gotten this human life, human body, we have to start thinking, what can I do to finally find a solution, permanent solution for these problems of birth, death, old age, and disease? First of all, we have to understand there is these problems. We so forgot also. We forgot also that there is this problem. This world is like that also, not to blame us completely. This world is a world of illusion. That's why this terminology Maya is given to this world. It's so very enticing. Today we step into Phoenix Mall, we'll forget everything about what Bhagavad Gita said. It's designed like that. Designed to make us forget everything. Somehow we should only mind ourselves. If we chant, then we will keep remembering, saying, oh no, yeah, this is all nice, but I have some basic problems also. I should cater to that. Nobody is saying don't go to Phoenix Mall, but do understand the reality of life. Because we also need to be normal and little happiness we need. We can't become sannyasins in one day. That is not even, Krishna is not telling that also, become a sannyasi. In the Bhagavad Gita, he never said become a sannyasi. He never said, leave everything and become a sannyasi. All Krishna is saying is that you have to start thinking about this also. See, the next slide will tell you why. You move on to the next slide. Look at this slide and tell me what this is indicating. Who wants to say the story behind this cage slide? Harshini, you want to try telling the story behind this picture?
I will try, Mataji.
Yes, Harshini.
Let's take an identity. Take care of the cage, body, not the soul.
What is it indicating? Something very important. The same lines that we were talking about.
So, if we are taking care of the body, it's temporarily manageable, but we need to take care of the soul as well.
Very good.
Like we have to take care of the body, but also take care of the soul simultaneously. Maybe.
Excellent. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Harshini. Yeah, see, if I have a bird in a cage and I'm going on decorating the cage but forgetting to feed the bird, what is the use of that cage? I bought the cage only for the sake of the bird, right? Same way, the soul is inside the body. We are going on doing everything to make the body comfortable, but we are forgetting about the soul. The soul inside will dry up. There is no death for the soul, but it is going to dry. It is going to get more and more covered. And it will think that it is suffering. Oh my God, I am growing old. Oh my God, I am going to die. Where nothing of this sort is going to actually happen to the soul. But it will be imagining because it's all happening to the body and it is identifying itself with the body. Cage is there, you paint it golden, you clean it, you decorate it with this and that, but the bird inside is starving and dying. This is the same thing we are doing, all of us are doing today. Everything we are doing to increase the facilities for the body, but we are not thinking what is going to benefit the soul. A better house, a better car, a better bed, a better this, a better that, a better everything will benefit only the body. None of it will benefit the soul. Just because you are going and eating in a 5-star restaurant than on a roadside dhaba or at home, it is not going to benefit the soul. In what way it will benefit the soul? Just because instead of traveling by buses and trains, you buy one very, not to say that don't buy. Krishna is giving that little leverage, saying, okay, you can also find some amount of happiness, but don't forget about what is your real purpose. What is the use of completely forgetting the real purpose and only going into all these things? This is the problem we are doing. And when the spiritual organizations are trying to preach, we get this say, these people don't have any other job or what. We have so much important work to do, and these people will come and say, chant, chant. So many important work. Tomorrow I have a presentation in my office. Nobody is saying don't do presentations in your office. But where is your care for the soul? Don't neglect that. Where is self-care? We are talking about self-care, self-love, but actually we are not doing that. We are only caring for the cage in which we are sitting in. We are forgetting to take care of ourselves. What Bhagavad Gita is telling us, what ISKCON is telling us is, do think of that also. You study, you get a job, you earn, but back of your mind, don't forget that you have to take care of yourself. You have to feed the soul with spiritual knowledge. So that we shouldn't forget that. We should not neglect that. This is one very important thing that we shouldn't forget this. Move on to the next slide. So this Swadharma is, there are two kinds of activities or duties, Swadharma and Nitya Dharma. Swadharma is dharma which is related to the body, and Nitya Dharma or Sanatana Dharma is dharma which is related to the soul. Everyone has duties. Like we have duties towards our parents, we have duties towards our children, we have duties towards our partners, we have duties towards our colleagues, our boss, our this, that, everything. All that is related to the body, which has to be done, but not at the cost of neglecting the Nitya Dharma. This also has to be done. If we do only Swadharma and neglect all the Nitya Dharmas, how are we expecting that all the time and money and efforts that we spend in taking care of the body is going to dwindle one day. So then what will happen? Everything is a waste of time, it is. If we don't, it is like this. Swadharmas are all zeros. Nitya Dharma is the one in front of the zero. As long as there is one in front of the zero, how many ever zeros you are adding will make sense only. But if that one is missing, all the zeros will remain only zeros. Same way, if you are including Nitya Dharma in your life, all the Swadharma that you are doing will make sense. Otherwise, it will become futile. It will become like a waste of time, energy, resources, everything. So this we have to keep in our mind very carefully. Move on to the next slide. So we need to do these kind of activities, spiritual activities, to feed the soul. Who understand who am I, who is God, what is my relationship with God, what should I do towards that relationship. If we understand this, which is spiritual intelligence, only then our life is meaningful. Whatever we do in our life is also meaningful. Move on to the next slide. I think we will come to the, no, this we will skip this slide because again and again. See, why that two slides are shown is that how our mind leads us to think that whatever this world is everything, this body is everything, and it will only push us towards enjoying. That's it. That's the only thing the mind does. As long as the mind is focusing on that, it's path to destruction. But when the mind is, why it is called destruction is because what is the value of that? But if the mind is made to think about, I have to be controlled, I have to also think about the good of the soul. If it is trained like that, then it is path to enlightenment. Go on to the next slide. So we need to include this A, B, C, D in our life. That's all we need to do. I don't have to describe because it's a very self-explanatory slide. Spend time with the devotees trying to understand what is the Bhagavad Gita, what has Krishna told in it for me. Read the Gita regularly, chant, and watch what you eat. So by doing these things, we are caring for the soul. Then whatever else we do, like studying or working or taking care of this, that, everything will make sense. Without this, it will not make sense. Okay, I think we have come to the end of the session. Yeah, chanting request from our side. Please chant. Please begin your day by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra 108 times. All of you chanted already for 18 times. But you can also, after this session, you can take little 10 minutes time if you have to chant the Hare Krishna mantra once. I'm again telling you, in our sessions, we have this session also, like what is the benefit of chanting. So you will understand more and your faith will deepen. So we have that also. But you don't have to wait for that. You can start chanting. So let's see what is in it. What is there for us tomorrow is Ishvara, controller. My God, this word control is very scary. But don't worry. That presentation is not scary. You will like it. Okay, we just finish here and we take few questions.
Hare Krishna Mataji, we
Yes.
had Dandavat Pranam.
Right.
We have a question in WhatsApp. Can I paste it here?
You can read it out now.
Okay, Mataji, just a minute. I think you've covered it in the session, but I'll just read it out. Hare Krishna, we all knew that attachment is the root cause of suffering, and detaching ourselves from this materialistic world is the only solution which Bhagwan Sri Krishna taught us. Nevertheless, we learned this. Sometimes we can control our moral intuitions in daily life. I always ask myself since I were grown up, what is happiness? But I never find one particular thing to decide because everything seems temporary. And when our life becomes devastated by people around us, like friends, relatives, etc., and you always being hurted, then you lost the trust on people. But eventually you realize that my happiness lies in spirituality. At times, I feel like I want to give up attachments and always be in Krishna consciousness. But Kana taught us we have to balance both. But I
Yeah.
already got disinterest in worldly pleasures. I always question myself then, what is the purpose of my life if I always get hurted and with no attachments? How to control moral intuitions when situation demands?
No, see, first of all, don't tell yourself that you have to be detached from this material world. That is not going to happen like that. That's why Krishna also never speaks that language. Neither Prabhupada encouraged that language. He said, whatever you are having, use it in Krishna's service. You are earning money, good. You are having a family, good. You are studying, good. You are a mother, very good. Use all that in Krishna's service. That is called Yukta Vairagya. You connect it, called dovetailing. We have love, we have different kinds of emotions. Use it, connect it to Krishna. Use it to connect yourself with Krishna. Don't tell that now I have to be detached. That is not possible. It doesn't come like that. If a child is interested in chocolates, by denying the child the chocolate, his taste will not go away. But if you give him something higher than that, then he will get attracted to that and forget about the chocolate. That is how we have to train our mind. When we get attached to Krishna by doing chanting, this, that, everything, automatically we will not even realize how these material pleasures are slowly becoming less important for us. But we don't have to venture into all that. That is not what the Bhagavad Gita talks about at all. And in Kali Yuga, it is not possible. Especially how far we have come in terms of enjoyment. It is not possible. How can you tell yourself, I will not go to malls at all hereafter? How will you socialize then with people? How will you live? But what you do is that when you go to malls, buy something for Krishna. Buy something for the deities in the temple. Like, oh, there are so many people who do that. They call, Mataji, I am in this place. You know, there are so many nice jewelry. Can I buy something for Madan Mohan? Can I buy something for... This is called dovetailing. We cannot not do. Plus, see, when it comes to relationships, no, it's a very complicated procedure. Not always in a relationship, as we imagine, people are our enemies or people are our this. I mean, I don't know your situation. I don't mean to judge your situation. I'm just saying, because sometimes what we expect cannot be expected out of a normal human being. Only Krishna can satisfy to that level in any relationship. So we have to understand that human beings have some, including us, we have limitations. For example, I will not understand your pain. You will not understand my pain. Something will pain for me, which may not be for you. So it will be okay for you, but it will not be okay for me. Like this, there are so many complications. So always in a relationship, there will be some dissatisfaction. It will be there. That kind of satisfaction will come only with Krishna, because he knows past, present, future, in, out, you, me, everything he knows. And he also is capable of satisfying. So only in Krishna's relationship, that kind of perfect fit. Otherwise, everything else, there will be some amount of dissatisfaction will always be there, always be there. But yeah, above and all this, there are people who harm us also. What can we do? We struggle in this material world, but there will be such kind of people who trouble us more. We need to see how we can stay away. If we cannot stay away, we have to train our mind to tell that, it's okay. This is what I can expect out of such and such a person. That will at least make us live little peacefully in this world. So but I think the other major part of the question where you are talking about self-realization, I think we covered in our today's session, like Harshni told. Does this answer your question?
Mataji, thank you so much for the answer. I don't know if Mataji is present in the class who shared this.
Okay, okay. Any other questions we have? I don't see any questions in the chat though. Anybody wants to ask any question, you can unmute yourself and ask. Otherwise, you can also post your questions in the WhatsApp like that. We can deal with it. I mean, Prabhu will answer it tomorrow. What did you feel from today's presentation? Was it a very heavy one? Was it a relatable one? How do you feel? What is your take back home? Because there is pin drop silence. I'm thinking if this is a very heavy presentation. Heavy topic, heavy presentation. What do you people feel? Are you comfortable? Do you feel hopeful? Thank you, Sai Shruti. What do you feel? Is there a take back for you from this presentation? Can any few of you can say what is the take back from today's presentation? Okay. Thank you, Harshini. Somehow I'm not seeing much of questions in the chat. Is it because you all didn't understand, or is it because anyway, if you all don't have any questions right now, see, don't feel ashamed to ask any kind of questions. Questions are always welcome, and you will not be judged for asking. Don't think my question will be silly or anything like that. It's not true. But if you have any questions later on also, you can post it in the group. If this presentation was a bit heavy, don't worry. There's Krishna always gives hopes for us. It's like Harshini just said, you don't have to cut off anything from your life. You just add Krishna to your life. You just start chanting Krishna's name. That should do all miracles. So you do not have to worry, oh my God, now I have to give up everything or what, like that. No. Where it is said that you should give up this and that now. So you can relax. Tanuja says permanent solution for problems is spirituality in this material world. Yes, thank you, Tanuja. Thank you. Yes. Okay, we will close the session for today. Yeah, solution, mindset, spiritual happiness gives you freedom. Thank you, Manasa, so much. Okay, we'll close the session for today. I'm hoping Prabhu will get better by tomorrow, so he will be able to take the session tomorrow. So tomorrow's session is Ishvara. I hope you're all excited to attend tomorrow's sessions. Please do attend. Thank you so much for your time. Early in the morning, you all, made some time and you spent it with us. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Matji. We really enjoyed the session. It was a little bit technical, but at last we found so much takeaways today. And it was very practical, even in the terms and all. We could relate it as we saw in the chat box also. Thank you so much for the session, Matji. So everyone, thank you for attending today's session, and I hope it was very much takeaway thing. You got some knowledge from today's session also, and see you all tomorrow again. By then you'll be getting a quiz in the group. You can try testing yourself, and you can try if you have any questions or doubts also. Feel free to message in the group. We'll be posting it with Mataji and Prabhuji, or they will be answering it in next session also.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Krishna.
Panchakalpatarubhyascha कृपासिन्धुभ्यः एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. श्री श्री राधा मदन मोहन की जय. श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलभद्र सुभद्रा महाराज दर्शन चक्र की जय. गौर निताय की जय. जगत गुरु श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Dandavat
Have a nice
pranam.
great
Hare
day.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So thank you all. Hare Krishna. See you all tomorrow. Please don't forget, if you have any questions, post it in the group. And to have more lively sessions, you can have you can attend the sessions without fail, and get the direct answers from Mataji or Prabhuji. So don't lose the chance. Feel free to, in a day now, you might be feeling morning so much early in the morning. You are telling to use my intelligence to do this or that.